Welcome to the Boost Hospitality podcast. We are in season 7, episode 16. Yes, I have got Boostly branded merchandise. We've got the Boostly rocket. We've got Boostly on the sleeve, and on the back somewhere we have hashtag bookdirect. They come in shirts, they come in hoods, and we've also got as well other things up and coming. These at the moment are not for sale. Sometime in the future they will be. Boostly Academy members, keep an eye out in the post because you may be getting them through the door for saying thank you for joining. Today we are going to be talking to Tyann Marcink. Now Tyann, for anybody that has followed her on social media, you'll know that she does such amazing work. She's a Touch Day ambassador. She is a legend when it comes to all things photography, and she is a host as well, and she's got so many projects ongoing. Today we're going to talk about photography, and we're going to show you and explain to you some of the key concepts that you need to be doing when taking pictures of your property. We also go through key questions that you should be asking a potential photographer who you're going to outsource the tasks to. Please make sure that you watch. Please make sure you go check out her website. We finish with the Quickfire questions, and there are some really good answers on that. So please make sure you go tune into the end, go and consume it. And if you need to get the show notes, go to boostly.co.uk/podcast. I just want to give a super quick shout out to our sponsors of the Boost Hospitality podcast. They've renewed for another season. Go to hostfully.com. Please do go and download and sign up to their free guidebook. You get one free guidebook. And if you want to sign up to their premium, make sure you put Boostly2M in the promo code and you get 2 months free. We're also going to be launching a super special competition. Yeah, I'm going to tell you more about that on the next episode, but we're going to give everybody a chance to win something pretty cool with the guys at Hostfully. So please enjoy this episode. You're going to get so much value, whether you are driving, in the gym, walking the dog, at home making notes, changing the rooms, however you consume this podcast. Please make sure that you rate, review and subscribe. But without further ado, please listen, learn, and most importantly, implement these tips from Tyann on how to improve your photography.
I'm Tyann Marcink, and I started in the vacation rental or holiday rental industry way back in 2007. I was 7 months pregnant with my third kid, and we signed the contract to build our first vacation rental house and set that up while I had my 2-month-old on my hip. About that time, I had also realized that photos were the key because I was asking people to send me thousands of dollars in the mail by check to a property they've only looking at pictures on a website 6 to 9 to 12 months in advance because we have larger homes and large families coming. You got to really book in advance. So, it's really a scammer's dream come true when you think about that process. So I quickly realized to get above the competition, I needed better photos. So back in 2013, I had decided, hey, I want to be the go-to person for vacation rental, holiday rental photography in the world. I just want to be the go-to person. So I became more active on forums online. HomeAway had a forum at that time, and I reached out to them and said, hey, your next HomeAway summit, would you like somebody to speak about vacation rental photography? And they said, yeah, come on down. So that was my first event that I spoke at, and then I proceeded to be speaking at pretty much any major event between 2013 and now. And of course, not every single one every year, but most of the HomeAway summits. Spoke at Verma in 2016 for the first time. I've now spoken there several times. Antonio Bartolotti had me on for Vacation Rental World Summit. I've done the Vacation Rental Women's Summit. And then last year, I got into the Bed and Breakfast Associations here in the United States and have been speaking at those events as well.
The thing that really stood out to me was you've got the slide from the top floor out onto the decking. Explain that, please, and the thinking behind that.
Okay, so everybody's got to have their thing, their draw. Yes, their thing. And I'm not the only person in my family who does vacation rentals. So if you were to look at vacation rentals, you will in Branson, you're going to find my parents, my brother, my other brother, and my cousin. And what do you know? We're all direct competitors. So we send guests to people, but we're still competitors. So in looking at our newest build, it's actually on the same street that my parents built a house and my brother built a house. So if you need 30 bedrooms in Branson, we got you covered. We're good. Right there, one street. So my brother and my dad, they decided to spend their money on arcade games. And they've got several arcade games. It looks cool and everything, but I looked at it as, you know what, that money in my budget, I don't want to put it to something that's going to require maintenance, time, and only maybe one or two people can play at a time when you got a huge 3-generation family reunion together. So I thought, what would be super, super cool? Well, there's a vacation rental in Big Bear, California that I've seen the back of their photos and the back of their house, and they had 2 of these spiral chute slides off their deck. And I'm like, one day I'm going to have a house like that. So when we started this 10-bedroom, I'm like, that's what I want. I want a big spiral chute slide. It's like 12 feet, deck down to the patio, and then you can get up off the floor and get in the hot tub.
Amazing. And just imagine doing the photo shoot for that one. You'll have a lot of fun, a lot of fun doing that. Okay, so let's go on to the topic of today, which is how to take better pictures. Now, I do recommend during this podcast, after this podcast, please go and check out Tyann's website, because you can pick up so many good tips on there. But what we're going to focus on today is all about photography. Now, there are people watching this that you're going to fall under 2 categories. Number one, you have got the budget or the resources to hire a professional photographer to come and take your pictures, or you may fall under the other category where you haven't got the budget. You've spent a lot of money doing all of the other things, so you're going to have to look at making the most of it yourself with the equipment that you have. And so what we're hopefully going to do today in this podcast, in this interview, is work out how you can still get the benefits and what the sort of questions you should be asking, what the things that you should be doing. Doesn't matter on what scale you are, doesn't matter on what on budget. So we really want to be helping everybody that tunes into this, because it's an important one. Because as we're going to uncover during this episode, the best way of making that first impression, the best way of really standing out is going to be your photography, specifically when you're going to be listing on these listing sites, because you haven't got the ability to write the most amazing copy. You haven't got the ability to do all the things. One thing you do got the ability of is to have amazing pictures. So what's the biggest mistake that you see other short stay accommodation owners make when taking photos of their properties?
So the biggest mistake is composition and the angle that people are taking them. The big thing is your photos are conveying subconscious type of messages to your guest. And one of the big things is how straight your walls are. Have you ever thought about walls are security? And when your walls are straight and firm, people can feel more secure. If you're taking a photo and it's angled like this, I'm not talking about starting at the top and looking down. I'm talking about cockeyed sideways. If it's sideways, then they're getting a crick in their neck as they're trying to figure out what it looks like, and they don't feel secure. They can't trust you so much, because if you're not taking care in making sure your photo's straight, then how much care are you going to take about them? You really need to think about what those messages are you're saying with your photos. So the first one is making sure your photos are straight. But the other big thing too is light. A lot of people will go in and be like, okay, we're done. I got the beds made. Everything's ready to go. I want photos. Oh, yeah, kind of got dark outside. Oh, well, no big deal. Let's take photos anyway. Some people can pull that off, but generally, no. Worst time to take photos. Absolutely. The best time to take photos is at lunchtime. When you're hungry, when it's noon, when the sun is at the very peak, it's at the height, it's bright outside, it's great, and you open up windows and let natural light in.
I like that. Composition and lighting. And I think those are 2 very key things. Now, if anybody wants to go and find out more about those topics and a bit more in depth, have you got anywhere online that you've sort of spoke about this a little bit more that you can maybe reference people to go afterwards?
I do, absolutely. If you go to my website, tyannmarcink.com, you go to ebooks. There's a free ebook, and then there's a step 1 ebook, and then there's an ebook totally geared towards someone with a professional camera. Then there's also my press page, which has all kinds of articles that I've written over the last 7 years, published on different blogs and websites and things like that. And then if you really want to get into it, I've got a video course as well that just literally follows me on a photo shoot.
This is something like what we really want to uncover during this episode, is that we want to say, listen, even if you feel like you haven't got a big budget to hire a photographer, there's still ways that you can make your photos pop and really, really stand out, because it is so important. And we're going to go on to why it's important with the next question. So when you have got your pictures, so let's just fast forward a little bit, and we are going to go backwards and forwards in this interview, but you've got your pictures and they're ready to go, and you're ready to upload them to your website, but most importantly, the listing websites. So when you're on the listing website, I always say that the first 6 pictures are the key ones, because those are the first 6 that are going to not only attract the guest in, but make them stick around for longer so they can find out more about you, your reviews, etc. So when you're personally laying out your first 5-6 pictures for your properties, how do you go about it? How do you sort of structure it?
So my first photo is always the hero photo. That is the photo that if you don't nail it, they're not even going to click and see the rest. You can just forget about it. So that one could be an exterior, it could be an interior, it could be a pool. I had my community pool, swimming pool, as my first photo for the longest time for one of my houses. It's whatever it is that will get people to click and want to learn more. So whatever shows that little tiny window into your property and speaks to your target guest. So for instance, if you're a romantic cabin, in the woods type thing, don't be showing kids' toys as your first photo. Not going to happen. You're not going to get your guests that you want. So definitely, use that first photo for your hero photo. After that, I like to do a walkthrough of the house. And the reason I do that is because as a traveler, I don't like to click on something and then hop around. Like, oh, okay, here's a living room. Oh, here's a bedroom. Okay, now we're outside and now we're in the kitchen. And yeah, they might be your favorite, the best 5 photos of the house, but it confuses me as a traveler. I'm like, where am I at spatially within this house? I like the logic and the order. So what I'll have my clients do is I'll line them up according to walking through the house, and I'll do a large room photo. So a nice wide photo, and then I'll do a detail photo. So you're helping to zoom in on a detail that you really want to stand out. And then in the wide photos, I make sure you can see the next room from that photo. So you feel like you know exactly where you're going in the house, and you can feel the spatial layout. Because if you end up with a dead end, you're like, okay, where am I in this house again? So take them through the house and then outside to the exterior.
Okay, so when it comes to the different types of hosts that we've got that are tuning into this, we said it's going to fall down on 2 categories. So the first one will be where you're going to do it yourself, which we've got some perfect little tips on there. The second one is where you've got the budget to hire a photographer. So what I really want to delve into here is when we've got a host that is speaking to maybe a couple of photographers in their area, what are some of the key questions that they should be asking to make sure that they're getting the right person for the job?
So the key questions: 1, can I see your portfolio? And you want to look at that portfolio very well. Have they actually done a holiday rental or vacation rental? Because there is a difference between real estate pictures and newborn pictures and holiday rentals pictures or wedding pictures. A lot of people can make a perfectly exposed image, but what you want is someone who can sell an experience and sell time at your property. You want somebody to be able to create an image that can sell the fact that somebody wants to hand you money because they can imagine themselves in your space months or even a year before they even arrive. Now, a real estate photographer, their goal is to get somebody in the door and then hand the money over. Your goal is different. You have got to be able to have photos that get people to hand you the money before they get there. Very important. So look at that portfolio. You want to look at it and ask them, how much experience have you had? Can I see an entire property shoot? Okay, because they're going to show you their favorite photos. And it could be 1 or 2 from a property, but you want to look at the entire property and make sure that they get the flow of each one. You want to make sure you have plenty of wide shots, but not too wide. You don't want to go fish angle or really oversell the space of the property. That's not good either. But really look at that and then look further at the photos. How detailed are they? Did they make sure the bed was straight, that the curtains weren't awkward, that the pillows were fluffed, that the artwork is not cockeyed a little bit? You want to make sure that all the details are in place. So those are my 2 biggest things: is look at their portfolio, then look again at the details and make sure that those details are in place.
You go to a lot of events, you chat to a lot of hospitality owners, you've got all of the things yourself and the properties going on yourself. What would be, in 2020 and in this new decade, what is the one change that you would like to see in the short-term rental market from all of the things that you're currently doing and from all of the things that you're seeing?
So I would like to see all the different parts of the industry working together more. So whether that's a short-term rental, bed and breakfast, a boutique hotel, even the big hotels, we're all in hospitality. We're all providing a space for travelers. It's just each of us is focused on a different segment of travelers, but we're all providing hospitality. So I would love to see all the different parts of hospitality industry come together and really create something special rental for travelers.
I love that. And there's just two little things to add on to it. Everybody that's watching this, please go in and check out Have You Got. Have You Got is exactly what you're talking about. Started by Deb Labby, who's going to be a future podcast guest. It's the one thing that I have noticed so much, that when, again, imagine in the heat of the summer, you're so busy, you get a call, you get an inquiry, and they say, have you got availability for these days? Most often than not, you're so busy, you just say, and that's it, end of the conversation. And what they're going to do then is they're going to stop that and go elsewhere. But if you can direct them to Have You Got, and that is where other hosts are recommending each other and just sharing availability. So you can say, no, but there's this channel where all the hosts are working together. Doesn't matter whether it's rentals, B&Bs, hotels, and they've got their availability on there. Go and check it out. And it's a nice little alternative. And again, it's all a big community working together. Please do go and check that out. And the second thing that you're saying there about the bed and breakfast world and the short-term rental world merging together and working together, that's 100%. And there's so many skills that you can take from each other and cross match and just basically put into practice. It's crazy. Like when in my other career, I was a soccer coach, did all the badges, did the soccer coaching, came to America and did soccer coaching. But as we were doing our training, we were able to pick up tactics and drills and skills from watching rugby sessions, because even though it's a totally different sport, you can still pick up certain tactic tips and movements that you can put into practice in your own business or sport. And that's exactly the same with bed and breakfast. I 100% agree. Collaborate, don't compete, collaborate, because at the end of the day, if you all work together, it's just going to help benefit the guest. And then at the end of the day, it'll help benefit you. Brilliant. What I love to do at the end of these podcasts, we have some quick fire questions. So again, I have prepped Tyann by sending them to her before this recording started. We've got about 5 or 6 questions that we're going to go through. So what we're going to do is we're going to uncover a little bit more about yourself and hopefully be able to pick up some tactics and tips that other people can then go and check out afterwards. So we will add all of these to the show notes. So if you miss them, if you're driving, you're in the gym, walking the dog, changing the beds, doing all of the things, doing the grocery shop, you will be able to go into the show notes after at boostly.co.uk/podcast to check these out. So first and foremost, first question, what's your favorite business book that you have read in the past year?
Well, it's not necessarily considered a business book, but I've applied it to my businesses. The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, and I've given some presentations on it as well.
What is your favorite podcast and or YouTube channel at the moment? What's the one podcast or YouTube channel that you're going to get help and advice, or just to check out on latest news?
So I don't have a favorite podcast one because I've got so many friends who have podcasts, so I listen to all of them. I'm also going to be starting a podcast as well, so be on the lookout for that. That's all I can say about that. And the favorite YouTube channel would be the Holderness Family.
Okay. How are you spelling that? Sorry.
It's HOLDERNESS. And they make song parodies and music videos according to family life. And I connect with almost every single one of those.
Okay. We will definitely be checking that out afterwards. Okay. Favorite purchase that you have made under $100 in the past year?
That would be my teal Eddie Bauer Storm Down coat.
Okay, nice. Like it. I guess in Missouri, you will be needing this from time to time.
Yeah, definitely need it. But I bought it right before we went off to Isle of Skye in Scotland to elope last year.
What is the biggest pain point for you personally in your business right now?
It is bookkeeping, especially since my bookkeeper quit on me 2 days ago before finishing 2019. So
okay, so that's the big task.
Yeah, bookkeeping, it's huge. Yes,
that's the big. Yeah, 100%. And I have got a very good bookkeeper. If you are watching this or listening back to this, there's bookkeepers essential. What is the one big tip that you have that you can pass on to hosts right now to increasing their direct bookings?
My one big tip is to actually tell your guests that you take direct booking, because if they don't know, they're not going to do it.
Yes, thank you. I definitely agree with that. And finally, what would you say would be your superpower? So what do you think is your superpower? What are you really good at?
So I know how to create photos that sell an experience, but also justify the purchase with facts, because people buy on emotion and justify with facts.
Thank you so much for doing this. And I know we've already mentioned the website, but we're going to mention it again. And could you please spell it out for anybody that is trying to drastically making notes at home, whether they're listening? Where's the best place they can go? Because I've been on the website. I do visit the website, and there is so much content. It is crazy. You do such an amazing work, and I'm so happy that we're able to get you onto this podcast so we can share you with my world. Tyann, But what is the domain? And if you could just recommend one blog that someone could start with, or sign up to any email list where they can get started with you, where would that be? Where do they need to go?
Okay, so you head to my website. It's my name, Tyann Marcink. So TYANNMARCINK.com. If you search for Tyann, you will get me. Okay, I'm on Google, page 1, search, I'm there. Easy enough. Then my favorite blog, I would have to go with Alana Schroeder. Hers is thedistinguishedguest.com. She has amazing information. It's very practical, which I love. And it's not just fluff. It's real, true information that you can apply immediately. And she's got a hospitality guide and a communications guide that you can pick up as well. And then as far as newsletters, you definitely want to get hers. You want to get mine. You want to check out VR Mastered Vacation Rental Bootcamp. We got a newsletter there. Registration just opened this week, FYI. From there, we send out all of our other favorite ones as too, because there's so many good ones in the entire industry. We'd probably spend 10 minutes listing all of them.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So there's plenty of takeaways. And again, do not worry if you've missed anything. It's all going to be in the show notes at boostly.co.uk/podcast. Scroll down to season 7, come down to episode 16, click on there. There'll be a full blog post. But for now, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, please, can you make sure that you rate, review, and if this is your first time tuning in, subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you go and review it, whichever podcast channel that you listen on, because now, thanks to the beauty of Anchor, it pushes it out everywhere. Thank you so much for watching, tuning in, listening, however you consume this. I appreciate it. Please go and check out the book direct map, boostly.co.uk/book direct map, to go and find out on how you can list your property on there. And if you want to come and find out more about Boostly, boostly.co.uk, boostly.co.uk. We'll be back with the next episode when we're going to be talking all about virtual reality tours. But for now, thank you so much, Tyann, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you again very soon.